Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Korok Seed Master Mode Challenge and Adventure. We are making our way slowly through the different Korok seeds that are to be found scattered across the lands of Hyrule, and we're doing so on 3 hearts and minimal stamina. So before we continue, please feel free to leave a like on the video if you're enjoying this series, and subscribe if you haven't. We broke past 100 subscribers recently, and we are on track for that 125 milestone by the channel's first anniversary, so that would greatly help me out. So let's not waste any more time and jump into the seeds of today's video. Now, the first seed that we're looking at today is seed 161 in our total adventure, and it's a little acorn up in the hull of this tree. Now, you're meant to shoot it, but really all you gotta do is destroy it, so using a bomb is pretty effective, and that's what we go ahead and do. Seed number 162 is on a hill just above that tree, and it's another one of my favorite types of puzzles. And this is where we need to roll this boulder into a hole on the ground. Now, this one terrified me a little bit because the slope of that hill isn't exactly forgiving, and I was terrified, especially right there, that the rock was going to roll off down the hill and cause us all sorts of problems. But luckily, it slid into the hole, and we got the seed from this spot. Again, just down the hill from this last puzzle we've completed, there's the next one, and this is a new puzzle type that we haven't seen yet. And this is the moving fairy lights, and we'll actually have a couple of these in today's video. But the nice thing about these types of puzzles is they move in a predetermined path. They are not actively running away from you. So if you can pick up on the pattern, you can catch them at the most opportune moment and collect the seed. Now, seed number 164 is another of my favorite type, and you can probably do this a little bit quicker if you use the stasis rune, but I wanted to see if it were actually possible to push it up the hill, and as it turns out, you can. It just takes a couple of breaks and some fine movements, and stopping a couple of times to recharge your stamina as well. But it's really straightforward, and as soon as you roll it into the hole at the end of the path, you can collect the Korok seed from this little puzzle here. And ultimately, that's what we're after. Now, we did need to take a quick break here in order to cook us up some food, because we're going to need that for some of the upcoming seeds, particularly food with cold resistance. But before we get there, seed 165 is a puzzle where we need to drop an apple in front of this altar to match the other 4 statues that are standing here next with it, and collect the seed from this spot. And as always, you can't forget to to leave those apples behind, so make sure you collect those before moving on. Now, this seed and the next couple are where we needed that cold resistance in effect. And we do so, or collect this first one by climbing to the very top of this mountain onto this stone pillar and picking the rock up from the top of the spire. Now, it is a little bit cold up here, so I wanted to give this guy some shelter from the elements, but in so doing, just about dropped the rock on my own head. So that was fortunate that that didn't happen. Seed number 167 is not one of my favorite types of Koroks to hunt down, because you've got to burn down this, or I guess melt, because it's not burning, it's melting. Melt down this little glacier, and it melts all the way down to the tiniest little pebble on the ground, and it takes a really long time. Now, normally you can expedite this by lighting fires around it, but given that this is in a puddle of water, there wasn't really an opportunity to light a campfire next to it, so we had to resort to using some fire arrows, as well as a flame rod that we got from a wizrobe. And for seed number 168, what if we did that, but again? Yep, there's another one of these ice crystal Korok puzzles is hiding on the side of this little mountain that's covered in snow. So we pop a couple more fire arrows into it and use our flame rod to melt down the remainder of it and collect the seed from this spot as well. Not my favorite puzzle because they're really time consuming and tedious. It wouldn't be as bad if it wasn't sitting in a pool of water. Now, we've just about got out of the snowy area here, but before we leave, we do need to climb up onto this little shelf and walk this rock over to complete the pattern puzzle that's on the ground. And this is simple as placing the rock on the corner here at the edge, and that's really all that you need from there. And I think that we need to head for somewhere with some warmer weather, so let's make our way over in that general direction. Korok seed number 170 is in a warmer spot, and it's actually in kind of a rock desert area. And we've seen a lot of these puzzles with the balloons, and you're meant to shoot them typically, but this balloon moves so sporadically that, per the suggestion of the little picture here, I wanted to give it a shot with a bomb, and as you see there, we ended up getting it on the first try. So I'm certainly not going to complain that it worked out in our favor to do it that way. Now, seed number 171 is just down from that last puzzle, and it's another one of these fairy light puzzles. The fairy lights will either move continuously or they'll kind of jolt around in sporadic little bursts, and this one was one that kind of was moving around and would stop in certain areas. Seed number 172 is a rock on the side of a cliff, so you'll just want to walk down and pick that rock up off of the top of this guy's head. And, I mean, I can't skip the rock out into the ocean, so I guess I'll just suffice for dropping it on your head. Sorry, dude. Seed number 173 is a bomb rock puzzle, and we've seen quite a few of these in a lot of our previous videos in this series. And I sometimes get the buttons mixed around between canceling the command and dropping the bomb there. So that's what you saw me doing with that funny little dance. Now from here, I do want to just take a brief moment and collect those luminous stones, because I may not actually end up getting the armor from the Gerudo Desert that's required by those, but you can always sell them at store for a decent profit, so they're not completely useless. Well, after you bomb that wall, pick up the rock and collect the seed from this guy, and then I guess since he likes dark shady corners, we can try and help him out with that, but it never seems to work. Seed 174, however, is a short walk over and a climb up this palm tree to interact with the fairy lights atop of it. So that's another seed to add to our collection, and certainly not going to complain about that as we're making very nice progress. From the top of that tree, you'll want to jump down to this little fairy light that runs around, and it will pause and stop in certain areas, but its trajectory isn't nearly as vast as some of the other ones that we've seen in today's video, so it's not that big of a deal. Seed number 176 is another Korok seed puzzle where we need to place a rock in a pattern on the ground, and this is going to complete the starfish looking formation that's out here on the beach. And as soon as we drop the rock into place, we are greeted by the next Korok and grab the seed from him. Seed number 177 is another rock that we have to pick up, but this one's hiding underneath this large boulder. Now you could use your stasis to kind of knock it out of the way, or you can use some leverage and height advantages to just kind of shove it off of the rock and pick up the actual puzzle completing rock to grab the seed from here. And I've heard that there is a guardian wandering, so I really wanted to help kind of give him some shelter, but apparently he didn't want that. There's a little mushroom-shaped rock column pillar here that you'll want to climb up to the top of, and once you make it around the lip, you just need to run up to the actual precipice of the mushroom and pick up the little stone that's sitting atop of it, and that ought to be more than enough to get you the seed from this little spot here. Now, just across the way, after, giving this guy a little concussion, and I hope that rock didn't fall on anyone's head as it rolled off, but just further down from where that seed is located, we'll actually have another one of these diving puzzles, and this one's occulted a little bit, because it's a seaweed ring rather than a lily pad ring that we're familiar with. But as long as you jump into the center of it, you're going to have no problems getting the seed from this spot. So it certainly would be a little difficult to get if you were doing a blind run of all of these seeds. And for seed number 180, the last seed of today's video, it is another Chase the Fairy Light puzzle, and we are able to intercept that Korok there as he makes his way around this little pond, and that is going to be the last seed for now. So thanks again for watching. If you are enjoying this series, don't forget to leave a like on it, subscribe if you haven't already. Once more, that subscription is free and easy, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching, and you have yourself a great rest of your day.